the Mongolian steppe. Wind, grass, and silence. You were born into a world with no walls, no cities, no mercy. Your cradle was a felt tent. Your lullaby, the howl of wolves. Your father is a minor clan warrior. Lean, weathered face, bow-legged from a lifetime in the saddle. He smells of horse sweat and leather. He is your first and greatest teacher. Age 3. They put you on a horse. Not a pony, a real steppe horse. Short, stocky, savage. You fall. They put you back. You fall again. This is your education. Your horse is not a pet. It is a weapon, a vehicle, a home. You will spend more of your life on its back than on the ground. The steppe Mongol and his horse, one creature. Age 5. Your first bow. Composite recurve, wood, bone, sinew, glue. It takes a craftsman 2 years to make one. You can't even draw it yet. But you will. The steppe teaches patience. You sit in grass for hours watching ground squirrels. Then, snap. Your first kill. A tiny life. But you feel like a god. Hunting is survival, not sport. You learn to read wind, clouds, animal tracks, stars. No maps. No compass. The steppe is your map. A Mongol warrior is lost nowhere under the open sky. A great kurultai, assembly of all Mongol clan chiefs. One man rises above them all. Temujin. He is declared Genghis Khan, universal ruler. The world will never be the same. You are 15. You are not a boy anymore. You join the Khan's army, the great Mongol army. 10,000 men, but organized unlike anything the world has ever seen. The army runs on tens. 10 warriors, a squad. 10 squads, 100. 10 hundreds, 1,000. 10 thousands, a 2-man. Perfect decimal system. No man left unsupervised. Discipline, iron. Miss a battle formation, death. Abandon a comrade, death. Flee without order, death. But protect your unit and loot is yours. Clear rules. Brutal clarity. Your armor, lamellar. Hundreds of small leather plates laced together. Light enough to ride, strong enough to stop an arrow. You also have a silk undershirt. Why silk? It doesn't tear when an arrow hits, it wraps around the point. Pull the silk, pull the arrow. Clever. Your helmet, iron bowl with leather neck curtain hanging down, the aventail. Simple but effective. No fancy plumes. A dead warrior doesn't care about fashion. Your weapons, 2 bows, heavy for horseback, light for dismount. 60 arrows in 2 quivers. A curved saber, the killage. A lance with a hook to pull enemies from horseback. And a lasso. Yes, a lasso. War is creative. Your horse carries 5 days of food, dried meat, curd cheese, a small bag of millet. You can go weeks on horse blood. Open a small vein in the neck. Drink. Close it. The horse keeps going. You keep going. War marches on empty stomachs. First campaign. Xixia Kingdom, northwest China. Tangut people. Great walls and fortresses. You've never seen a wall before. It looks like a mountain made by gods. It is not unbreakable. The Mongols don't storm walls. Not yet. They cut off water. Cut off food. Wait. The city starves. The gates open. Patience is more powerful than a battering ram. But sometimes you need engineers. The Mongols kidnap Chinese siege engineers. Not out of cruelty, out of intelligence. The Khan wants the best minds on his side. A conquered craftsman builds the next conqueror's weapon. The Great Campaign against Jin China. The real empire. 60 million people behind the Great Wall. Genghis Khan has maybe 100,000 warriors. The math doesn't work. Except it does. Speed is your weapon. Your army travels at 100 kilometers per day. No supply lines, you eat the land. By the time the enemy emperor knows you're coming, you're already inside his border. The Jin army, 1 million soldiers. Heavy infantry, cavalry, crossbowmen, war elephants. They outnumber you 10 to 1. The Jin general smiles. He shouldn't. Mongol tactic, the feigned retreat. You charge. Then you run. The enemy follows, breaking formation. Then you stop, turn, and your flanks close like jaws. The trap is the battle itself. Battle of Yahuling, 1211. The trap closes. A Jin army of 300,000 collapses. Bones litter the hills for years. You are soaked in blood and you are 18 years old. Zhongdu, the Jin capital. Beijing today. A city of 1 million people. Walls 20 meters high. Moats. Towers. Your engineers build catapults, ballistae, fire arrows. The siege begins. The Jin emperor doesn't fight. He pays tribute and runs south. Smart. But Genghis Khan doesn't forget debts. The empire of Jin is now a slow death. It will be finished, just not today. The loot. Silk. Gold. Grain. Weapons. Craftsmen. Libraries. The Mongols don't just take treasure. They take knowledge. Every conquered city gives Genghis Khan a new weapon for the next conquest. West. The Khwarezmian Empire. Modern Iran, Central Asia. Shah Muhammad thinks himself a second Alexander. He has 400,000 soldiers and the world's greatest cities. He makes one mistake, he kills Genghis Khan's merchants. Genghis Khan sends a final message, return the merchants or face war. The Shah kills the ambassador. That's not diplomacy, that's a death sentence for an empire. The Khan begins to move west. The invasion of Khwarezm. 200,000 Mongol warriors split into multiple columns. They attack from every direction simultaneously. The Shah cannot know which fire to fight first. Otrar. First city to fall. The governor who killed the merchants is captured alive. His punishment? Genghis Khan orders molten silver poured into his eyes and ears. The Khan has a sense of justice and theater. Samarkand. One of the greatest cities on earth. 500,000 people. Scholars, astronomers, poets, merchants from every civilization. Magnificent tiled mosques. The Shah's garrison, 100,000 soldiers. They surrender in 3 days. The Khan's rules for conquest: surrender without resistance, your city lives. Fight back, your city dies. Samarkand surrendered. Its craftsmen and scholars are relocated. The rest go free. Brutal logic, but logic nonetheless. But some cities fight. Merv, Nishapur, Urgench. These cities are erased. Not just conquered, unmade. The population is massacred, the walls razed, sometimes the rivers are redirected to flood the ruins. Civilizations disappear in weeks. You are the one riding through these ruins. You follow orders. You are part of a machine. At night, in your tent, do you think about what you have done? The steppe wind answers for you. Nothing. The Shah flees across his own empire. Genghis Khan sends his 2 best generals, Jib and Subutai, to chase him with 20,000 riders. Not to conquer. Just to hunt one man. And to see what's west. Jib and Subutai ride through Persia, into the Caucasus. They defeat the Georgians, the finest heavy cavalry in the Christian world, before breakfast, essentially. Then they ride into the Eurasian steppe. They are exploring for Genghis Khan. The Cumans, the steppe nomads of southern Russia, beg the Rus princes for help. The Mongols have destroyed all before them, they say. The Rus princes shrug. Then they march out. They shouldn't have. Battle of the Kalka River, 1223. The Rus and Cuman army is enormous. Subutai lets them chase him for 9 days. Then he turns. The trap closes. 80,000 Rus warriors are annihilated. Subutai rides home. He's done his reconnaissance. Genghis Khan recalls the generals. The West will wait. He has a personal matter. The Tanguts of Xia betrayed him during the Khwarezm campaign, refused to send troops. Nobody betrays the Khan. The final Xia campaign. Genghis Khan, 60 years old, leads it personally. He is thrown from his horse hunting. He is injured. He campaigns anyway. Nothing stops the machine, not even the man running it, August. Genghis Khan dies. Age approximately 65. The cause, debated. The fall from the horse. An arrow wound. Typhoid. Perhaps simple age catching a man who believed he was invincible. The steppe loses its greatest voice. His body is carried home to Mongolia. The escort kills every living thing they pass, people, animals, so no one knows the route. The location of his grave remains unknown to this day. Even in death, the Khan keeps his secrets. But the empire does not stop. His sons divide it. Ogdi becomes Great Khan. The campaigns continue. The machine Genghis built doesn't need him anymore. That was his greatest invention. You now serve Ogdi Khan. New master, same mission. He is fond of wine and feasting, but he is also his father's son. He gives the order that his father never got to give: finish Jin China. Finish the West. Korea, the Goryeo kingdom. The Mongols cross the Yalu River. Korea is mountainous, terrible terrain for cavalry. The Koreans retreat to islands. The Mongols cannot follow. But they can wait. They always wait. The Koreans resist for 28 years. Longer than any other nation. Their court submits. Their people don't. Korean resistance fighters hide in mountains, launch raids. Respect, even from the Mongols. The army of Bata Khan, Genghis's grandson, turns west. General Subutai leads the strategy. He is 60 years old, too fat to ride a horse, pulled in a cart. But his mind is the sharpest weapon in the army. Russia in winter. Subutai's choice. Every European army stops fighting in winter, rivers freeze, roads ice over, supply lines fail. But Subutai uses winter. Frozen rivers become highways for Mongol cavalry. Speed in the season of death. Ryazan. First Russian city to fall. They beg other Rus princes for help. Nobody comes. The Mongols batter the wooden walls for 5 days. On the 6th day the city falls. Ryazan is never rebuilt. Vladimir. Suzdal. Tver. Moscow, a small town then, barely worth noting. City after city falls. The Rus princes fight each other even as the Mongols burn their world. Disunity is the Mongols' greatest ally. The Sit River, 1238. The last major Rus army. Grand Prince Yuri gathers his forces. Subutai surrounds them in the forest in winter. You attack from all sides simultaneously in the snow. The Rus fight to the last man. Yuri dies in the snow. Russia will not forget. Spring, 1241. Europe. Subutai's masterpiece. 2 Mongol columns cross into Poland and Hungary simultaneously, 300 kilometers apart. He is coordinating the largest military operation in history from a cart. Battle of Legnica, Poland. April 9, 1241. A combined Polish-German Teutonic Knight army. The flower of European heavy cavalry. The Mongols send a small force ahead, visibly inferior. The Knights charge gloriously. Into a trap. The Mongols release smoke screens, burning reeds, possibly chemical compounds. The Knights lose visibility. The Mongol flanks close. Out of the smoke they hear screaming but can't see. The trap is perfect. The army of Poland ceases to exist. At Legnica, the Mongols cut an ear from every slain enemy to count casualties. They fill 9 large sacks. 9 sacks of ears. That number speaks louder than any war correspondent. Simultaneously in Hungary, Battle of Mohi. April 11, 1241. Subutai's plan: lure the Hungarian army into a river crossing, let them crowd onto the bridge, then destroy them. Classic Subutai. Classic trap. 40,000 Hungarians die in 2 days. King Bela of Hungary flees on horseback. The Mongols chase him across Austria and Croatia to the Adriatic Sea. He escapes by boat to an island. The Mongols stand on the Croatian shore staring at the water, again stopped by the sea. Western Europe is next. France, the Holy Roman Empire, nothing can stop them. Pope Gregory IX calls a crusade. Terrified rulers write desperate letters. And then, nothing. The Mongols stop. They turn around and go home. Why did they stop? Ogedei Khan died in December 1241. The law of Genghis Khan requires all princes return to Mongolia to elect a new great Khan. The election of a Khan saves Western Europe. Not God. Not knights. Mongol succession law. You ride back east. Across the Hungarian plain, across the Russian steppe, across the Ural Mountains, back to Mongolia. You have ridden from the Pacific to the Adriatic. The world is smaller than anyone thought. 1241 to 1251. Succession wars. The Mongol princes argue, feast, drink, and occasionally stab each other politically. The great empire pauses. You wait. A warrior with nothing to do is a dangerous, restless thing. Monk Khan becomes Great Khan in 1251. Order returns. The empire restarts like a great engine after maintenance. 2 directions. Monk's brother Kublai goes east, to finish China. His brother Hulagu goes west, to finish the Islamic world. You go west with Hulagu. Your target, Baghdad. The Abbasid Caliphate. The center of the Islamic world. The most civilized city on earth. 1 million people. The House of Wisdom, the greatest library since Alexandria. The Caliph al-Mustasim refuses to submit. He believes Allah will protect him. He has not read the reports from Samarkand, from Ryazan, from Kiev. Those cities also believed in protection. Hulagu surrounds Baghdad with 100,000 warriors. The Caliph finally panics. He sends his Grand Vizier to negotiate. Too late. Hulagu has read the Mongol law: cities that resist after the final ultimatum receive no mercy. February 10, 1258. The walls fall. 13 days of siege. The Mongols flood into the city. What follows is one of the greatest catastrophes in human history. The House of Wisdom, for centuries of knowledge, is destroyed. The Tigris runs black with ink. The Caliph is executed, rolled in a carpet and trampled by horses. Mongol tradition: royal blood must not touch the ground. A courtesy execution. The Abbasid Caliphate, 500 years old, ends in a carpet on a Tuesday. You stand in Baghdad and look at what remains. 500,000 dead. The greatest city in the world, a ruin. But here is the strange truth: Hulagu's wife is a Christian. His general is a Christian. Some of the Mongols prayed in the city's churches. The Mongols are not a religion, they are a force of nature. Next target, Syria and Egypt. Damascus falls without a fight. Aleppo falls. The Mongols have never been stopped in open battle. They are about to meet their match. And your horse is about to discover what desert sand feels like. Monk Khan dies campaigning in China. Another death, another succession crisis. Hulagu pulls most of his forces back to Persia. He leaves a small garrison in Syria. This is the mistake that changes history. The Mamluks of Egypt. Former slaves who became the greatest warriors of the Islamic world. Their commander, Baybars. He has survived everything, sold into slavery, fought for 5 different masters. Now he will fight for himself. And for something else, revenge. Battle of Ain Jalut. September 3, 1260. In the hills of Galilee, where David slew Goliath. The remaining Mongol force is no small thing, 20,000 warriors, experienced killers. Baybars has roughly the same number. For once, equal odds. Baybars uses the Mongols' own tactic against them. He sends a small force forward. It charges. Then retreats. The Mongols pursue, of course they pursue, it's a retreat, they invented this trap. They ride straight into an ambush in the hills. The student has learned from the master. The Mongols fight. Hard. This is not a soft city garrison. These are veterans. But the terrain neutralizes cavalry, narrow, rocky, nowhere to flank. For the first time in decades, a Mongol army loses a major battle in the open field. The unbeatable has been beaten. The Mongol commander at Ain Jalut is killed. The surviving Mongols retreat north. Baybars pursues. The retreat becomes a rout. The first defeat. And you were there. The ground shook differently when the arrow came from the other side. You survive. You always survive. That is its own curse. You have seen so much death that living starts to feel like an accident. Your unit commander tells you, we will return to Egypt and finish this. He never does. Neither does anyone. The Mongol Empire is splitting. Kublai Khan rules China and the East. The Golden Horde rules Russia and the steppe. The Ilkhanate rules Persia and Iraq. The Chagatai rules Central Asia. One family. 4 empires. Already fighting each other. You are now in the Ilkhanate, Persia. Your new world is mosques, bazaars, poets, and rose gardens. The Mongol Khans adopt Persian culture so quickly it's almost embarrassing. They build palaces. They commission miniature paintings. The conquerors become the conquered by beauty. The Mongol rulers convert. Some to Buddhism. Some to Christianity. Some to Islam. Ghazan Khan of the Ilkhanate converts to Islam in 1295 and suddenly the former destroyers of Baghdad become the protectors of Islamic civilization. History's great irony. Meanwhile in China, Kublai Khan. He finishes the conquest of the Song dynasty in 1279. The last Song emperor, an 8-year-old boy, is carried into the sea by a loyal general. They drown together. Better the sea than the Mongols. Kublai Khan rules China now, the Yuan dynasty. 100 million people. He has never held a plow, never written a Chinese character. He is learning to govern a civilization from scratch. A nomad trying to run a bureaucracy. Coffee helps. Tea, actually. Japan. Kublai Khan sends ships. Twice. 1274 and 1281. The Mongols have built a great navy, from captured Chinese and Korean shipbuilders. For the first time, Mongol cavalry are on ships. The horses are not happy. You are not happy. The first invasion. The Mongols land on Kyushu Island. Japanese samurai in their elaborate individual combat approach the Mongol line and issue formal challenges to single combat. The Mongols shoot them with massed arrow fire. The samurai are outraged. Rude. The Mongol tactics don't work well on island terrain. Then a typhoon hits. The fleet is destroyed. Hundreds of ships sunk. Thousands drowned. The Japanese call it the kamikaze, the divine wind. Gods whether or not, the Mongols are driven into the sea. Second invasion. Larger fleet. 150,000 warriors. Another typhoon. Again. The Japanese priests pray very effectively. The fleet is destroyed again. Kublai Khan plans a third invasion. He dies before he can launch it. The sea has won twice. Vietnam. 3 times the Mongols invade. 3 times they are driven out. Guerrilla warfare in dense jungle. Your cavalry is useless in jungle. Your composite bow gets damp. The horses get sick. Kublai Khan never conquers the south. The jungle always wins. Java. The island kingdom of Singasari. Kublai sends a demand for submission. The king tattoos the face of the Mongol envoy and sends him back. Kublai sends a punitive fleet. The Javanese use the Mongol army to defeat their own enemy, then drive the Mongols back into the sea. Humiliating. Brilliantly humiliating. Back to the steppe. You return west to the Golden Horde, the Mongol state ruling Russia and the western steppe. Your new life, garrison duty. Collecting tribute from Russian princes who bow their heads and secretly plan. The bow of submission. The eyes of future revenge. The Mongols demand more than gold from Russia. They conduct a census, count every Russian man, woman, and child. Tax each one. It is the most thorough census Russia has ever known. The Mongols bring paper, and ruthless bookkeeping. The yam system, Mongol postal relay. Fresh horses every 40 kilometers across the entire empire. A message can travel from China to Persia in 2 weeks. Information is power, and the Mongols have built the world's first information superhighway. The Pax Mongolica. The Mongol Peace. For 100 years, the trade roads from China to Europe are safer than they will be again for centuries. Marco Polo travels east in 1271. Silk, spices, paper, gunpowder, pasta, bubonic plague, all travel west on Mongol-secured roads. Everything has a cost. The Black Death. The plague travels west along Mongol trade routes. 1346, Mongols besieging Kaffa on the Black Sea catapult plague-infected corpses over the walls. The Genoese flee by ship. They carry the plague to Europe. 50 million Europeans die. The siege engine becomes the deadliest weapon in history. You are growing old. Not old by today's standards, 40 is ancient in the 13th century. Your knees hurt from decades in the saddle. Your draw hand is stiff and cold. The empire around you is changing. The Khans grow soft. The warriors grow few. Your children. You have 3. 2 sons and a daughter. They were born in different places, one in Persia, one on the Russian steppe, one perhaps in China. The empire is your home. But home is nowhere and everywhere. The warrior's family is scattered by the world he conquered. 1260 to 1294. The long reign of Kublai Khan. He is the last great Khan all Mongols nominally acknowledge. He builds the Forbidden City, predecessor to what we know today. He employs Marco Polo. He drinks too much. His wife dies. His son dies. The empire is too big to grieve. Kublai Khan dies. He is the last ruler who held the idea of a unified Mongol empire, however fractured, in his hands. After him, 4 separate empires that trade, war, and slowly, inevitably dissolve into the civilizations they conquered. The Golden Horde weakens. The Russian princes stop bowing. Dmitry Donskoy of Moscow, 1380, Battle of Kulikovo. A Rus army defeats a Golden Horde force for the first time. The tide turns slowly, like a river changing course over centuries. But the Golden Horde doesn't simply collapse, it fractures into smaller khanates. Kazan, Crimea, Astrakhan, Siberia. These fragments fight each other and Russia simultaneously. The echo of the great empire booms in smaller and smaller chambers. Timur the Lame, Tamerlane. 1370s, he claims Mongol descent. He builds an empire copying Genghis Khan. He defeats the Golden Horde, sacks Delhi, burns Baghdad again, defeats the Ottomans. History stutters and repeats its worst moments. 1500s, the last Mongol empire, the Mughal dynasty of India. Mughal is simply the Persian word for Mongol. Babur, descendant of Timur and Genghis Khan, conquers India. The Mongols build the Taj Mahal. The warrior tent becomes a marble palace. The wheel of history has a sense of humor. Back to you. Back to 1260, your boots on the steppe, your horse beneath you. Let's talk about what you actually ate. Dried meat called borts, so concentrated a fist-sized piece can feed you for a week when dissolved in hot water. You carry an empire's rations in your saddlebag. Fermented mare's milk, arag, or kumis. This is your wine, your water, your medicine, your recreation. Mildly alcoholic. Mildly energizing. Tastes like something between yogurt and disappointment. You love it. You've loved it since you were 3. Your tent, the GER. It takes 30 minutes to disassemble, 30 minutes to reassemble. Your entire home packs onto 2 camels. The Mongol woman drives the camels, sets up the home, takes it down, raises the children, makes the felt, and often commands the camp while the men are at war. The women hold the empire up. Mongol women could own property, divorce, rule a clan, even command armies. Torajin Khatun, widow of Ogidi, ruled the entire empire for 5 years between the great Khans. Nobody called it a regency. She called it ruling. Because it was. Religion. The Mongols don't have one, officially. The Great Khan practices shamanism but invites Buddhist monks, Muslim imams, Christian priests, Confucian scholars all to debate at his court. He's not spiritually open. He's hedging his bets. Divine insurance policy. Your shamans. They are called Bu. They speak to the eternal blue sky, Tingri. Before battle, the shaman kills a horse, reads the shoulder blade cracks, predicts the outcome. You believe in this. You have seen too many impossible victories to doubt the sky's interest in your affairs. Genghis Khan's law, the Yasa. Not written during his lifetime, but remembered and enforced. Don't steal. Don't lie to your Khan. Don't fight among yourselves. Don't harm traveling merchants. Don't pollute running water. Remarkable hygiene laws for a medieval empire. The Mongols were expert psychological warriors. Before a siege, they would send a message: surrender and live. Resist and everyone dies. Cities that surrendered were spared. Cities that resisted were made examples. The reputation of the example cities did half the work for the Mongols. The Mongol archer. You can shoot from horseback accurately at full gallop. Backward. Forward. Left. Right. The Parthian shot, twisting in the saddle and firing at pursuers while at a full retreat. Your body is the weapon. The bow is just the extension. Your composite bow. It's a masterpiece of engineering, layers of horn, wood, sinew glued with fish bladder adhesive. It takes 2 years to make and months to cure. Its draw weight is 160 pounds. Modern Olympic bows draw 50. You are not shooting sport arrows. Arrow types. Blunt arrows to knock riders off horses without killing them. Bodkin arrows, needlepoint, to punch through chainmail. Fire arrows wrapped in burning pitch. Whistling arrows to signal flanks. Your quiver is a multi-tool. Each arrow has a specific job. Mongol horses. Small, ugly, unstoppable. They can survive on grass alone, no grain needed. In extreme circumstances they eat nothing and still run. They can smell water from 3 kilometers. In winter they paw through snow to find frozen grass. You did not choose this horse for beauty. A Mongol warrior brings 3 to 5 horses on campaign. One to ride, others to rotate. You effectively have a 60 km per day galloping reserve. Each horse carries no more than 90 kilograms, it needs to sprint for hours. You travel light so your horse can travel fast. Winter campaigns. While European armies sheltered, the Mongols exploited frozen rivers as highways. But winter has costs. Frostbite takes fingers and toes. Felt armor is good insulation but icy felt cracks. You learn to sleep with your horse, its body heat keeps you alive. The numbers. Genghis Khan conquered more land in 25 years than Rome did in 400. The Mongol Empire at its peak, 24 million square kilometers. 1/5 of all land on Earth. 600 years later, no one has matched it. The death toll. 40 million people may have died as a result of Mongol conquests. Some estimates say higher. China's population dropped by half. Persia's by 3/4. These are not battles, they are demographic catastrophes. The carbon in the atmosphere measurably dropped because there were fewer people alive to breathe. But the Mongols also transferred technology, culture, art, science across continents. They accidentally made the Renaissance possible by pushing Islamic scholars, texts, and knowledge westward. Destruction and creation, the same hand, the same motion. Genghis Khan created the first international postal system, free trade zones, religious tolerance laws, diplomatic immunity for ambassadors, and standardized weights and measures across a continent. He was not a civilizer. But civilization grew in the cracks he left. Your scar collection. A sword cut across your left arm from a Jin soldier in 1211. Arrow graze across your right shoulder at the Sit River. Broken rib from a horse fall near Samarkand. The small finger of your left hand, lost somewhere in Hungary. You don't remember which day. You had other things on your mind. Mongol field medicine, cauterize with hot iron, pack wounds with animal fat and pine resin, use the silk undershirt trick to remove arrows. The army had dedicated medical officers. Genghis Khan's laws, any soldier wounded in battle receives treatment before any officer wounded fleeing. Leadership by example, or cowardice by death. You learn to count days differently on campaign. Not by name. By horse rotation, every horse is fresh, so time is measured in distance covered. For horses to Baghdad doesn't mean time. It means the distance required to exhaust 4 horses. The steppe gives you a different mathematics. The Mongols never built roads, they didn't need to. The steppe is the road. The flat grasslands, frozen rivers, mountain passes memorized by generations, your ancestors mapped this world in their bodies. You navigate by muscle memory and stars. Intelligence. Before any campaign, Mongol spies traveled for years, as merchants, monks, travelers. They counted garrison sizes, mapped rivers, found discontented nobles. When the army arrived, Genghis Khan knew everything. He was not lucky. He was prepared. Propaganda. The Mongols actively spread stories of their own ferocity. They released survivors specifically to tell what they saw. The story of what happened to a city that resisted traveled faster than the army. Fear was the advance force. Terror was the supply line. The Mongols recruited from defeated armies. Captured Cuman cavalry became Mongol cavalry. Captured Chinese engineers built siege weapons. Captured Persian bureaucrats administrated the empire. The army that conquered the world was partly built from the world it conquered. 1274 to 1279. The conquest of the Song dynasty. Kublai's greatest military achievement. Song China is the most advanced civilization on Earth, paper money, gunpowder weapons, advanced naval technology. The Mongols conquer them anyway. With their own technology, taught to Mongol engineers. Xiangyang. The key to Song China. A fortress city on the Han River held for 5 years against Kublai's armies. 5 years of siege. Nothing breaks it, until Kublai brings Persian engineers with counterweight trebuchets. The first time this weapon was used in East Asia. One stone hits the city. The garrison surrenders the next day. The Song emperor, a child, is taken. His regent Lu Xiufu carries him to the last Song ship at the Battle of Yamen. With nowhere left to flee and no surrender acceptable, he carries the child emperor into the sea. The Song dynasty drowns with honor. Kublai wins. But it costs him something he can't name. The Silk Road under the Pax Mongolica. A Jewish merchant from France can travel to Beijing. A Chinese doctor can practice in Persia. An Italian boy named Marco Polo goes east and comes back with stories so wild no one believes him. His cellmate in a Genoese prison writes it all down. The world suddenly became too small for its own certainty. Your legacy. What did you, personally, build? You built nothing. You raised nothing. You wrote nothing. You are the machine that cleared the ground. What others planted in that cleared ground was not your intention, but it was your consequence. The world grew differently because of you. The Black Death again, because it deserves a second mention. 1/3 of Europe. Half of the Middle East. The plague didn't care about conquests or empires. It traveled the same roads the merchants used. The Mongol trade network was the most efficient plague delivery system in history. Tamerlane rises. Claims Mongol heritage, marries a Genghisid princess to gain legitimacy. He calls himself Sword of Islam while destroying Muslim cities. He sacks Delhi, killing 100,000 people in a single day. His brutality makes Genghis Khan look measured. History's most dangerous student. But Tamerlane never united what he destroyed. He had no subudai. No decimal organization. No yam system. No yasa. He could conquer but could not build. He died in 1405 marching to conquer China. Even Tamerlane had one conquest too far. The Mongol Empire transforms into something stranger than empire. The Golden Horde Khans become protectors of the Russian Orthodox Church. The Ilkhanate builds the most beautiful Persian Islamic art in history. The Yuan dynasty preserves Chinese scholarship. Conquerors are conquered by meaning. Ivan the Terrible, 1552. A Russian Tsar finally destroys the Kazan Khanate, a Mongol successor state. He weeps, they say, when the last Khan surrenders. Perhaps. Or perhaps he respects what it took to hold out so long. The Mongol shadow lingered for 300 years after Genghis. The Mughal Empire. 1526 to 1857. 300 years. The longest-lasting legacy of Genghis Khan. Babur writes poetry. His grandson Akbar the Great creates religious tolerance policies, echoing the Yasa from 400 years before. They have not forgotten what their grandfather's grandfather believed. What did the Mongols never conquer? Japan, twice repelled by weather. Java, tricked and driven out. Vietnam, jungle defeated them. Egypt and the Mamluks, stopped at Ain Jalut. Western Europe, saved by a succession crisis. The ocean and the jungle always held. The steppe warrior had limits. The steppe itself was the limit. The Ilkhanate collapses. No male heir, competing generals, plague, economic collapse. The most powerful state in the Middle East dissolves in 15 years. The Persian poets write elegies for it. The Mongol Khans become characters in Persian literature, exotic, sometimes heroic, sometimes monstrous, always fascinating. The last great Khan of a unified empire. Kublai died in 1294. After him, the empire existed in name only. But its children, the Khanates, shaped the modern borders of Russia, China, Iran, Afghanistan, India. Every time you look at a modern atlas, you are looking at Genghis Khan's fingerprints. You die. Not in battle, you've survived too many of those. You die on the steppe, in a gur, of something your body can no longer fight. Old age, infection, a final winter. Your horse is set free, the Mongol custom for a warrior's mount. Your bow is buried with you. A warrior's proper funeral. What remains? Your children are scattered across the empire. Some speak Persian. Some speak Chinese. Some speak Russian. Some still speak Mongolian. Your bloodline is the Silk Road made flesh. Genghis Khan's Y chromosome is found in 16 million living men today. The empire ended. The genes didn't. Final statistics. The Mongol army at its peak, 140,000 cavalry. The lands conquered, more than all Alexander, Caesar, and Napoleon combined. Time required, 60 years from Genghis's rise to the empire's peak. One man's lifetime built the largest land empire in history. Genghis Khan's secret weapon was not the composite bow, not the feigned retreat, not the decimal system. It was meritocracy. He promoted by ability, not birth. In a world of aristocracies and hereditary command, he picked the best man for each job. Subutai was a blacksmith's son. He became the greatest general of the age. The Mongol general staff system. Officers were educated in strategy, logistics, languages, engineering. Kublai Khan learned to read. Genghis Khan couldn't, he remained illiterate his entire life. But he insisted his children and generals learn. He knew what he couldn't do. That is its own intelligence. The Mongol Empire at its maximum extent, 1279, governed perhaps 100 million people from a population base of 1 million Mongolians. 1 in 100 governed 100. Every Mongol was an empire administrator whether they knew it or not. You governed the world by simply existing in it. Your horse, let's give it a eulogy. Over 20 years of campaign, you rode perhaps 15 horses to exhaustion or death. Each one carried you through weather, battle, desert, snow. The Mongol warrior and his horse are one entry in the history books. The horses deserve the other half. The rivals who shaped you. The Jin Chinese who taught the Mongol siege warfare. The Khwarezmians whose arrogance gave Genghis a reason. The Mamluks who proved the machine could be stopped. The Japanese storm that proved the sky itself could be an enemy. You were made by what resisted you. The Mongols changed language. The word Khan enters every Turkic and many European languages. Horde comes from the Mongol Ordu, meaning camp. The English word emperor became synonymous with Khan for a generation. Words are the last soldiers of any empire, they outlast every sword. The plague's silver lining, if such darkness can have one. The devastation of population in Europe and Asia led to labor shortages. Serfs had leverage for the first time. Wages rose. Feudalism weakened. The survivors of the Black Death, children of the Mongol trade routes, built the foundations of a freer world. Catastrophe as engine of change. Russia under the Mongol yoke, 2.5 centuries. But Russia absorbed more than it was conquered. The administrative structure, the census system, the postal relay, the concept of strong central rule, all entered Russian governance. The Russia of Ivan III is partly a Mongol invention wearing a Slavic face. China after the Mongols. The Ming dynasty, founded 1368, reacted against everything Mongol. They built the Great Wall to its current extent. Withdrew from the sea. Became the most insular great civilization on earth. The Mongol trauma taught China to close its doors. Those doors stayed mostly closed for 500 years. The Golden Horde and the birth of the Russian state. Paradox, it was the Mongols' administrative structure that allowed Moscow to grow powerful enough to eventually throw off the Mongol yoke. The Muscovite princes collected tribute for the Khan, and learned how to collect. Then they kept the tribute. And the system. What did Genghis Khan want? This is the question no one can fully answer. He said the greatest joy was to conquer enemies, pursue them, possess their property, see their families in tears, ride their horses. That is one answer. But he also created laws against torture. Both are true. He was not simple. The geography lesson your empire taught the world. Before the Mongols, most civilizations thought in regions. After the Mongol Empire, the world understood it was one connected place. China wasn't a myth. Europe wasn't an edge. The world had no edge. It was round, and the Mongols had nearly circled it. You were not a hero. You were not a villain. You were a tool of an age. The age needed warriors who could ride all day and kill all night and follow orders and die on command. You were perfect for your time. Your time is gone. What remains is what you built, without knowing you were building it. The Mongol warriors' equipment total weight, approximately 25 kilograms. A medieval European knight's armor alone, 40 to 60 kilograms. You could ride 50 kilometers while the knight was still being dressed. Speed dressed in leather beat strength dressed in iron. Every time. The Mongols and writing. Genghis Khan adopted the Uyghur script to write Mongolian, the first time the Mongolian language was ever written down. He commissioned The Secret History of the Mongols, the earliest great work of Mongolian literature. The man who burned the House of Wisdom also created the tradition of Mongolian literacy. Nothing is simple. The empire's trade revolution. Before the Mongols, a merchant crossing from China to Europe needed permission from dozens of kingdoms, paid dozens of tolls, changed currency dozens of times. Under the Pax Mongolica, one safe road, one toll system, one protection. Global trade was the result. Merchants got rich. The Khan got richer. Everybody moved faster. The last Yuan emperor of China flees north back to the Mongolian steppe. A Chinese rebel named Zhu Yuanzhang founds the Ming dynasty. The Mongols go home. The steppe receives its children back. They take nothing with them but their horses, their bows, and the memory of a century when they owned everything. The steppe receives them. The grass doesn't care about empires. The wind doesn't know the difference between a great Khan and a herdsman. The horses graze. The jares go up. Within a generation, the empire is a memory. Within 2 generations, a legend. Within 3, a story grandmothers tell. The Mongol cultural survival. Mongolian traditions, the Naadam festival, the 3 manly games of wrestling, horsemanship, and archery, survive intact from the 13th century to today. You would recognize them. You were trained on all 3. The competition you practiced for war became the sport your descendants play for joy. Chinggis, the correct pronunciation. Not Genghis. The West corrupted the name through Persian and Arabic transliteration. In Mongolia today, he is Genghis Khan, the oceanic ruler. He is not just a historical figure in Mongolia. He is the father of the nation, the face on the money, the name on the airport. Not everyone in the world shares this view. The Mongol Empire's 800-year anniversary was 2006. Mongolia celebrated. The rest of the world was ambivalent. In Iran, China, Russia, Poland, Hungary, countries that still carry the architectural and demographic scars, the celebration was complicated. History is never simple from both ends of the arrow. What would Genghis Khan think of the modern world? We can't know. But consider, he united the internet's ancestors, trade routes, message relays, standardized systems. He believed in universal law over tribal custom. He used meritocracy. He created the first international free trade zone. Some say he was simply ahead of his time. The problem is the method. You, the Mongol warrior, lived the most mobile life in human history to that point. You were born moving, trained moving, fought moving, and died in a land far from where you were born. The steppe produced people who understood that the earth is not something you own, it is something you pass through. The bow that outlasted the empire. The Mongol composite bow design, horn, wood, sinew, was used by Central Asian armies until the 19th century. More than 600 years. The musket replaced it only slowly. Some things built with the right materials and the right geometry do not need improving. The bow just needed more time than the empire. Subudai's final campaign. After the European invasion, after a career spanning 30 years and 65 battles, the greatest general in Mongol history retired to the Mongolian steppe. He died quietly, old, in a GER. No biography was written during his lifetime. He was too busy to have one written. The conqueror of Europe died in pastoral peace. The last Mongol state, the Dzungar Khanate, a Mongol successor state in Central Asia, fell in 1758 to the Qing dynasty of China. The Qing Empire was itself partly Manchu, partly Mongol in its military structure, using Mongol cavalry. The last independent Mongol state was defeated by soldiers using Mongol tactics. History closed itself. The DNA. Genghis Khan's Y chromosome lineage, identified by genetic researchers in 2003, is found in approximately 16 million living men across Asia and Eastern Europe. That is 1 in 200 living men on Earth who carry the specific genetic signature traceable to a single ancestral population around 1200 CE. The largest genetic footprint of any individual in recorded history. Mongolia today. Population, 3 million people, 3 million horses, 60 million livestock. The steppe is still there. The jares are still there. The Naadam still happens every July. The descendants of the conquerors ride the same horses on the same grass. The empire is gone. The culture lives. The lesson of the Mongol Empire is not about violence. It's about organization. One man's ability to organize a group of disparate quarreling tribes into a unified force with shared laws, shared purpose, shared rewards. The bow is the symbol. But the organizational chart is the weapon that won. Your final accounting. You rode approximately 300,000 kilometers in your lifetime of campaigns. You fought in 7 major campaigns, 42 significant engagements. You were wounded 6 times. You never deserted. You never refused an order. You were, by every measure, the perfect soldier of your age. What you were not was lucky enough to be born in peacetime. The human face of the Mongol army. Behind every campaign statistic, men who missed their mothers, feared the dark before battle, got stomach sickness in Persia, couldn't sleep the night before Ain Jalut. History writes the Khan's name. The soldiers' names are mostly gone. You are the unnamed. The most essential part of every story. What you believed in. Not the Khan necessarily. Not Tingri always. What soldiers through all ages believe in, the man to your left and right. Your Arban of 10. Their faces. Their names. Your unit is your country. Your squad is your family. The empire is abstract. Batar's laugh and Sukbatar's bad leg are real. You fought for them. The Mongol Empire's great administrators. Yelu Chukai, a Khitan Chinese scholar who served Genghis and Ogdi. He persuaded the Khan to tax the conquered Chinese rather than kill them. He saved tens of millions of lives with an argument about tax revenue. The accountant as hero. The most important man you've never heard of. The lesson for your enemy. Every civilization that faced the Mongols and survived did so by adaptation. The Mamluks studied Mongol tactics and copied them. The Japanese used terrain and weather and time. The Vietnamese used jungle and guerrilla. The lesson: the Mongol way was not unstoppable, it was just faster than anyone at adapting. Be faster. The world after the Mongols was not the same world that existed before. Trade patterns permanently shifted. Diseases permanently changed population distributions. Technologies spread that would not have spread otherwise. Languages merged. Religions migrated. Bloodlines crossed. The Mongol century was not a pause in history, it was an acceleration. Everything that came after, came faster because of it. The steppe, the beginning and the end. Every Mongol warrior came from it. Every Mongol warrior returned to it, either in victory, in defeat, or in bones. The steppe does not celebrate. It does not mourn. It simply continues. The grass grows over every tomb and every triumph equally. The wind keeps no records. Take off your helmet. Look at what the world became. The roads you rode are now highways. The cities you bypassed are now capitals. The rivers you crossed are now borders. The trade routes you protected are now undersea cables. The world you helped make has forgotten your name. But it remembers your shape. The Mongol warrior is gone. The empire is gone. But the world is round, and you helped prove it. From the steppe to the sea, your footprints crossed every kind of ground. War is not heroism. War is not glory. War is what happens when men fail to build something worth protecting. Remember that. If this journey moved you, leave a like, subscribe and ring the bell. The next campaign begins when you're ready. We'll ride together.